On today's show, if you want to see where the future of tech is going, drop by CES in Las Vegas for the annual trade show. This year, over 4,400 companies from 160 countries attended. One of the coolest things I saw was from Mercedes-Benz, a future car inspired by James Cameron's movie, Avatar. It breathes, it has no steering wheel, just a small center control. But wait until you hear how the car recognizes drivers. Plus, the world has flocked to Barrett-Jackson collector car auctions for nearly 50 years. It's America's #1 attraction for car lovers, and I'm going to speak with its chairman and CEO, Craig Jackson. And finally, while location tracking is essential for directions, it also helps big tech companies sell you things. In this week's DIY Security, I'll tell you which essential settings you need to change to stop your phone from tracking you. All this and more digital know-how here on Commando. CES just took place in Las Vegas. More than 170,000 people attended to look at over 4,400 exhibits. It's the only place where you can sit inside a concept car of the future while simultaneously removing odor from your shoes with someone else's random invention. And every year at CES, you get to see tech hits and total misses. But what's different this time is big tech's focus on your privacy. Amazon announced a privacy control center for Ring products like their popular video doorbell. Now users can opt out of data sharing with the police. That's nice. Then there's Google. You can say, hey, Google, that wasn't for you, which makes it delete whatever it just heard. Finally, and let's not forget about the poster child for data mismanagement, Facebook. They say their privacy check tool makes it easier for people to control how Facebook uses their data, or at least makes you feel like you're more in control. And speaking of Facebook, they recently decided to remove and ban deep fake videos from the site to help curb misinformation with the upcoming election. But have you ever heard of shallow fake videos? They're kind of like deep fakes, but aren't as heavily edited. Facebook is still fine with those being plastered everywhere. What a bunch of dopes. Always remember, Facebook is only as noble as how much money they stand to lose. Number 2, the cute gal or handsome gentleman you see on a dating site could be dreamed up by artificial intelligence. That's right, AI can create creepy and very realistic computer-generated faces of people who don't exist. These systems comb through tens of thousands of photos of real people, then morph those features into unrecognizable digital replicas. There are actually a few creepy sites out there dedicated to showcasing these imaginary people. And of course, it was only a matter of time before money came into play. Now AI startups are selling images of people who aren't real to various industries. Think about it. Companies like dating sites could use these images in their advertising to add more diversity, make it look like all the beautiful people hang out there, and avoid paying real models. Another company might use them for chatbots, so you think you're talking to a real person, but it's just a computer. It also opens the doors to scammers, spies, and bots meant to manipulate or take advantage of people. Then it becomes the question of, how do you figure out what's real anymore? AI could become self-aware and start to believe its bot is too big. Number 3, out there, Elon Musk now owns the largest private satellite operator in the world. Elon Musk's other company, SpaceX, has been working on plans for some time to send a constellation of satellites right into orbit. Over the past year or so, the company has sent a few batches of the small satellites called Starlink into orbit. And there was just another launch of, say, 60 more.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff.
Okay, so why? For the money. One day, they'll provide high-speed internet access around the world, including underserved areas where internet service has always been limited. Now, he's not alone in the universe. Amazon's Jeff Bezos is working on his own plan for internet satellites. And guess what? Apple wants their own satellites in orbit, too. Right now, there are roughly 2,000 satellites up there around the world. SpaceX wants to send a total of 42,000 of these satellites right into space. This way, the company can grab 3% of the $1 trillion internet connectivity market. I'll do the math. That's about $30 billion. The problem is that satellites aren't invisible. Astronomers worry that they're going to change the view of the night sky and disrupt their research. They'd be like, oh, look, there's the bright star Vega. Nope, it's a satellite. Talk about taking up space. All right, number 4, we depend on YouTube to teach us everything. A survey commissioned by an equipment rental company wanted to find out how well people could fix household problems without online help. You know, stopping a running toilet or patching a hole in the wall. They surveyed 1,000 American adults, and get this, about 40% of those surveyed, roughly 2 out of 5, can't fix the most basic household problems without consulting the internet. Can you unclog a drain? Only 43% say that they can tap into their natural abilities. How about replacing a washer on a leaky faucet? 30% can take the plunge. Or how about installing a drywall anchor? 25% nailed it. Now, age did play a factor. For instance, people over 45 more commonly said that they could perform basic home maintenance. Those in the 18 to 24-year-old range, not a clue. And you might be thinking, well, at least the younger people are using the internet for something worthwhile. Sure, but just remember, a 3-minute YouTube video on how to change out an electrical outlet doesn't mean that you're an electrician. So don't be shocked when you figure that one out the hard way. All right, number 5, even robotic dogs need friends. A big trend has been the growing number of doggy daycares, dedicated parks, and even full-blown resorts. We love our dogs from wags to riches. But don't forget, we are in the 21st century, and if there's a will to add tech to anything, there's a way. The Penguin Cafe in Tokyo invites dogs and their owners in for special play dates. The only rule is that they have to be robotic dogs. Real slobbering, running, ball-fetching dogs just aren't allowed. The event is called Aibo World, named after Sony's robotic pet, and apparently brings in a ton of people and their robotic companions. Owners dress up their cyber pet for the occasion, and they even hold birthday parties for the robotic dogs, too. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Sony made upgrades to their latest model where they respond to commands and have more personality that's supposed to evolve over time. Still, we're talking about a very small robotic dog. It can only walk around for about 2 hours before the battery needs a charge. And the price of this robotic dog? Almost $3 grand for something whose bark is worse than its bite. Just remember, there are shelters full of adoptable, real, breathing dogs and cats, far more worthy of your love, time, and of course, your money. Next, should the U.S. military continue their development of lethal artificial intelligence? My next guest, Dr. Robert Marks' answer just might surprise you, and it's only on Commando. Buying a new home is work. Finding the perfect house and then getting the loan at a decent rate is a ton of stress. Well, take a deep breath. This week's Commando DIY shows you a few online tricks to become a Zen real estate master.
Buying a house can be complicated. It seems like checklist after checklist before you're finally moving into a new home. Ugh, can't we just get it over with already? But here's some good news. You can alleviate some of that stress by doing some legwork ahead of time. And there are a ton of online resources to help. First off, knowing your credit is key. The higher your score, the lower interest rate you'll pay on your mortgage. You can check your credit report for free once every 12 months, if you ask for it. Check out annualcreditreport.com, but watch out for lookalike sites that'll try to charge you. Compare your credit to the national averages to see what's helping or hurting your score, so you can work to improve it. Once you've got your credit ironed out, you need to figure out how much house you can afford. When you apply for a mortgage, lenders will take a lot of factors into consideration to figure out what amount you qualify for. But keep in mind, a big number doesn't mean you actually have to spend that much. Take other costs into consideration like insurance premiums, utilities, along with your existing expenses and recurring charges. Zillow has an online affordability calculator to help, and it's super easy to use. The same goes for Bankrate's mortgage calculator. Now it's time to search for homes, which you can do before you even reach out to a realtor. Check sites like Realtor.com and Trulia for up-to-date listings. Find what you love and make an offer. Then have fun packing. For more tips when it comes to shopping for a house, check out Commando.com.
Hollywood loves to show us a future where robots are just taking over. Terminator, HAL 9000, you name it. Our next guest is Dr. Robert Marks, author and professor of engineering at Baylor University. His latest book, The Case for Killer Robots, talks about a not too distant future where intelligent machines are given the same fear and respect as nuclear weapons. The only question is, who manages to get their hands on them first? Hey, thanks for coming on the show today, Dr. Marks. We're so happy to have you here. So let's dive right into it. One of the biggest threats we face in the future, what is it?
I guess it depends on your perspective. I think that we do have artificial intelligence being introduced into the military, and that has to be done nicely because to remain competitive, especially in the United States, the military has to respond and adapt to new warfare technology. We learned this from history, and it's a fact now.
So, you use the word killer robots in the book title. Define that for us.
That's an excellent question. I'm actually using terminology from the opposition. There's lots of opposition to development of human robots right now. Human Rights Watch uses the term in their campaign to stop killer robots. But basically, the idea is to use any artificial intelligence that is autonomous, that can act on its own. And that's one of the fears that people have, one of the rightful fears that people have about use of military autonomous robots. And so killer robots encapsulates all of that. So it would include, for example, missiles, which are launched and take over for themselves and think for themselves, choose their targets and go off. It would include things such as autonomous underwater vehicles that are unmanned, that are out there for themselves. So I think killer robots kind of brings to mind these kind of mechanical men that kind of move around, but we're using it in a much more general sense. And it's the incorporation of the term, of the idea of an artificial intelligence in these devices.
So that these devices could take over and they would be autonomous, as you say, because right now, if we are looking at drone technology, we've all seen the videos where the drones are flying over certain areas where there's conflict, but they're actually being controlled by people here in the United States.
So yes, many of them are remotely controlled. But one of the big things coming up in artificial intelligence and warfare is something called electronic warfare, where the spectrum is actually exploited and used. And you can imagine, for example, this drone, which is tethered to the automatic pilot by a communications link, is disrupted in mid-flight. And if that capability existed, what do? You either have to scrub the mission or you have to go to an autonomous mode, if you will. I don't think that would have been a good idea in this case, but those are the things which we're going to be facing in the future.
So when we start talking about these killer robots, and again, as you mentioned, it covers a broad spectrum. Is the United States ahead of the technology curve, or are we catching up to another country? And what is that country that we're catching up to?
Well, yeah, actually, this is an area of concern right now. The U.S. is losing the arm race. There was a recent, November 2019 report by the National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence. It was a bipartisan congressional committee that says we are behind, and they concluded their report with, we've got to get this right. It's not optional. China, the Republic of China, is putting $30 billion into development of AI. I suspect a lot of that is going into military operation. China is on the way to dominate the world economically and probably militarily in the area of artificial intelligence.
So is our problem here in the United States that we just are not giving it the proper funding?
There is funding. I would argue with the details of the funding, but both the Pentagon and DARPA are investigating this right now. But apparently we look to be kind of far behind. I mean, even Russia, Putin says whoever controls artificial intelligence is going to be the ruler of the world, is his exact quote. So you know that Russia is also interested in this, and they're not friendly people to us.
Well, a lot of people are afraid of artificial intelligence. They don't understand it. They're afraid that they're going to lose their jobs. I mean, just on a basic level. And so when you start talking about military warfare using AI, it kind of probably rightfully so freaks a lot of people out, because they picture these machines that are going to just take over the world, and then as humans we're not going to be able to ever have our control back. Is that a premise that you see?
No, I don't. I think that we confuse reality with science fiction many times. It turns out that artificial intelligence will never be sentient, it will never be creative, it will never understand what it's doing, and currently it lacks any sort of common sense.
Well, thanks again, Dr. Marks, for joining us. Really interesting perspective on future warfare. And speaking of tech in the future, hey, make sure you keep up with all the latest and all things digital with my free Komando.com newsletters. Just head over to Komando.com and click the link at the top of the homepage and sign up. That's all there is to it. And now it's time for your tech trivia question. Every week, I'll test your knowledge to see how much you really know about the history of tech. But you have to promise me you're not going to Google the answer. All right, ready for this week's? Here we go. When Jeff Bezos decided to launch an online bookstore back in the mid-90s, he eventually picked the name Amazon because it's the world's largest river, and he wanted to create the world's largest bookstore. That makes sense. That, and it also put the name near the top of the alphabetical listings. That was pretty smart. But that wasn't his first choice. So, which of the following was Jeff Bezos' original idea to name his company? Was it A, Blue Origin, B, Cadabra, C, Redstone, D, Spartan? Stick around, I'm gonna have the answer at the end of the hour. So we're back with the chairman for another round of Brand New or Not True, where 2 of the products are fake and only 1 is real. Are you ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be, which means I'll probably lose again. I have a really good, nearly unbroken losing streak on the show.
Didn't you win once or twice over the last 2 years?
It's nearly unbroken.
Well, it's because of my superior intellect.
Well, okay.
Of course.
All right.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, let's say you want to get a new look this year. Because everybody at the beginning of the year always wants to have a new look.
A new look.
But one that you really know is your true body. So there's a product called Envision Body. It uses augmented reality to give you the ultimate selfie, they say. So this way you can see what you would look like with less weight and more muscle mass. So basically, if you want to be body shamed, you would get this product. Here's how it works. You take a picture of yourself and then select the ways that you're trying to improve your body. The Envision Body AR app then shows you what you could look like if only you didn't eat that piece of pie.
If only.
If only. The developers say that this could be a source of inspiration. As a matter of fact, they actually show a woman on a treadmill and she's like this, you know, kind of rotund woman. And
Stout.
Yes.
We like to say
Yes.
she's stout.
then there's a picture of her, like, of what she could look like.
Right.
If she just, you know, did things. Also, with a guy, too. A guy with a big
sure.
old beer belly.
Yeah.
And then they show him, like, with a 12-pack. I mean, a 12-pack on his body, not holding a 12-pack.
What's this thing called?
The Envision Body.
Okay.
Okay. The company cites certain published studies from universities which argue, and this is a quote, if a person has enhanced feelings about their appearance, that induces intrinsic motivation, which is the catalyst for motivation.
Uh-huh.
Okay. $99 for the app.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
That doesn't work for you. We have number 2. It's called Chip Away. So you chip away the fat using a combination of artificial intelligence and science. Now, this is only available as a prescription to people who are classified as obese. All right, so here's how it works. You ingest a pill the size of a standard vitamin that records when it was taken. The system sends a message from the pill's sensor, which the company refers to as an ingestible event marker, to a patch worn on the patient's skin. The patch detects and records the date and time when the tablet was detected in the stomach, in addition to other data such as the patient's activity level. The patch communicates all of this to the app on a compatible mobile device such as a smartphone. Okay. Self-reported mood information activities can be shared if the patient chooses, also on the app. So Chip Away sits in the stomach, sends signals when the person should stop eating to the patch, which sends it then to the app. And the patients get a notification that they should stop eating, and then they start getting points for doing so.
Wait a minute. So you swallow the little pill, the IEM, the
Yes.
ingestible event monitor.
Marker, yes.
Marker.
Yes.
Okay. And it goes. Does it do like the lunar lander? Does it go down into the stomach and then do a soft landing, and then its little feet clamp into the stomach
Yes.
so it stays there?
It's going to stay there.
Because I was wondering how long it's going to stay there.
Before it does its natural thing.
Right.
It stays there.
Before
and
you flush it away.
Well, it will dissolve itself and dissolve it's what it needs,
Uh-huh.
and then flush it away.
Okay.
Okay?
And what's it called again? The chip away.
Chip away.
Chip away.
Chip away.
Okay.
If you're tired of taking the trash cans in and out, just like there's Uber, Lyft, TaskRabbit, Field Agent, now you can add a new way to make money in this gig economy. It's called CanMan. For $10 a month, someone will come and put your trash cans out and take them in for you every single week. I mean, I should clarify, that's $10 per trash can per month. So at the house, we have 4 cans, 2 trash, 2 recyclable. So it'd be like $40 a month. And now,
That's good, actually.
for an
yeah.
additional $5 a month, CanMan will wash your cans out with a hose. Deep scrubbing is available, but they say costs have to be determined upon inspection. CanMan is currently available around certain communities in and around Minneapolis only right now,
I see.
where the temps are around 9 degrees, but they hope to be rolling it out nationwide.
Okay,
soon.
so this show it originates out of the city of Phoenix.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't, people who live in Phoenix, they don't own their trash cans. They're provided
Well,
by
you
the
s-
city.
okay.
So would you pay to have one of those things scrubbed? I mean, it's not even yours.
Well, I hose ours out every once in a while.
Do you really?
Sometimes they get pretty nasty.
Yeah, but they're trash cans.
Yeah, how come I'm on trash duty? Why is that? I put the cans out on Sunday. I bring them in on Monday.
I don't know. That's just the luck of the draw.
I'm the digital goddess.
Yeah.
So which one do you say? We've got.
No, I'm not over you being on trash can duty yet.
Yeah, I am. I'm done with that.
All right, the first one was the virtual reality.
Yeah, sometimes when Ian went
that's
to
not true.
college, I ended that.
Yeah, that is not true because, you know, somebody's liable to put one of those things on, somebody who's morbidly obese. They put those things on, they take it off, they look at themselves, they look at the perfect self, and they say, just kill me now. So that could lead to suicides more than anything else. So I
Okay.
don't think that's it.
Okay.
All right, the second thing is a little thing that goes in your stomach and latches on.
Yes.
I don't like this latch on thing.
Okay.
It's just too much about it being latched into me
Okay.
that I'm not sure of. I think the guy who comes over and takes out your trash for you, I think that's the simplest, most straightforward gig economy. And if it's not there, I'm just saying that anybody who's looking to create a new job for themselves in this economy that's rip-roaring crazy right now, there is a job for you.
So CanMan,
CanMan,
put out your trash.
put out your trash.
Here comes the garbage man.
Yep.
Put out your can. Here comes the garbage man.
Yeah.
Okay. Final answer?
That's my final
Okay.
answer, yes.
What do you think, Mike?
Barry is wrong again.
Oh,
no
see?
big surprise.
This is nuts.
Introducing
Why don't we
Envision
even
Body, using revolutionary technology that powerfully increases confidence in your appearance.
No,
Yep.
no,
Envision Body is real.
no.
All right, so you're going to be back next week?
I don't know. I keep losing. I mean, we're starting off the new year.
Okay, I think,
we
you know what?
ended the year
Okay,
with a
here's the deal.
loss. We're starting off the new year
Okay,
with a loss.
you're on trash duty. Because
I'm
you
not
lost.
on trash
You're on
duty.
trash duty
No.
until you win.
No, that's
Yes.
just not going to happen. 'Cause-
Yes.
No, that's not going to happen. Because you know why? I'm going to go out and start a company called CanMan. That's why.
Mercedes-Benz unveiled its newest concept car this past week at CES. It merges drivers with cars through biometric tech, and it's all part of your Tomorrow's Tech Today here on Commando. The CES show in Las Vegas is huge every year, and it's not just about the latest TVs and robots or weird inventions. It's also a car show of sorts. The Mercedes-Benz Vision AVTR Avatar concept car was there. Trust me, you've never seen anything quite like it. And if you're not watching, I want you to look over right now. This concept car almost looks alive, and that's very much by design. If any of these elements look familiar, it's because you've probably seen them in a movie. That film is the massive hit from a decade ago, Avatar. Now there's a sequel on the way, so what better way to market it than through an electric car? Those scaly things on top are what Mercedes-Benz calls bionic flaps, and those tires that look overinflated are inspired by the seeds in the movie. But it does have some pretty cool features. For one, there's no steering wheel. Just tap the control center on the console and it will identify you by your heartbeat and your breathing. And while it's at it, the car also monitors your vital signs. The doors are transparent, And those tires I mentioned, well, they allow the Vision Avatar to move sideways. But you're just as likely to see this car on the road as you would be, say, the blue people from the movie standing on the sidewalk. This concept car is just a little too sci-fi for actual production. Okay, something else once considered more sci-fi than reality is flying cars. And while books and movies have promised them for decades, they're still not quite here, but they are getting closer. Uber and Hyundai got together for this future tech. Again, if you're watching my show, this is worth taking a look. The two companies announced that they're developing an electric car taxi, codenamed SA1. It looks a lot like a small plane, but with a ton of propellers that can shift to different angles. There are some notable specs. The SA1 is fully electric. It can take off and land vertically and can hit speeds up to 180 miles per hour. The flying taxi will have room for 4 passengers plus the pilot. But one day, Hyundai hopes to have them flying autonomously. As far as timing, you still have to wait. While Uber wants to have the Uber Air ride sharing up and running by 2023, Hyundai doesn't expect to have these particular flying taxis in a city near you at least until 2028. Hey, did you hear that Uber was getting in the wine business? It's kind of like a cab. All right, that was funny. And it's not just cars and flying taxis. Here's some future tech that's making waves. The Sea Ray SLXR 400E. It's a 40-foot yacht with room for a little more than 20 people. And it's equipped with a lithium battery pack that powers all equipment not related to the engines, including multiple 16-inch displays that give an overview of the boat's status. Still, at a glance, it just kind of looks like your average high-dollar boat, right? But did I mention that passengers can communicate with the yacht using their voice and hand gestures? It's through a feature called Future Helm that allows you to pilot the boat through a joystick. What exactly you can control that way isn't yet clear, which is a little surprising because this isn't just a concept of a yacht that they plan to build in a few years, if ever. No, this tech boat is in production and expected to be available for purchase sometime this year. Now, of course, they're not saying how much it's going to cost. Maybe we should just try asking the boat. All right, when you see this future tech laptop, you're just going to want it. It's called the Horseshoe Bend with a foldable OLED display. Here's how it works in the video. It looks like this guy is using a tablet, okay, a very large tablet with a 17-inch screen. Then he picks it up, he repositions and looks at it. It folds in half. Now it appears to be a laptop with a screen instead of a keyboard. You can also hold it like a book because that's pretty comfortable. Intel created this so-called Horseshoe Bend device, which is based on their upcoming Tiger Lake mobile processors. And it's similar to Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 Fold, but a lot bigger. Where it's not similar to the X1, this is still a concept computer, but no doubt a sign of the future of what we'll all be using. Intel showed off their whiz-bang device at CES, and that means Samsung, well, was also in attendance. Hopefully, Samsung stopped by Intel's booth and took notes on how the screen is supposed to fold without damaging itself. Okay, next, CEO and chairman of Barrett Jackson, Craig Jackson, takes time out of his busy schedule to tell us how he became the pioneer of online bidding here on Komando. We all know how crazy a heated eBay auction can get. Now, think of the biggest online bidding war you can imagine. What else? Classic cars. My next guest is the chairman and CEO of Barrett Jackson, the world's greatest collector car auctions. He is a pioneer in the world of online bidding, and based on projections, this year is looking to be the biggest Barrett Jackson auction yet. Let's give a warm welcome to the Kim Komando Show, and thanks for joining us, Craig. So tell us, what are some of the greatest cars that Barrett Jackson is selling this year?
Well, it's hard to pick between them, but the one that's behind me will be history when we sell the first mid-engine Corvette on Saturday, the 18th, and that will make history. But we have a great lineup. We have Paul Walker's cars that are going to be sold for his family, as consigned the cars, his daughter, for the estate. And it's a great collection of lightweight BMWs. One of the cars that was in the Fast Five, his daily drivers. He was a real car guy, and it is his entire collection is selling at no reserve.
Wow. So that mid-engine Corvette, you know, everybody's super excited about it. What do you think it might go for?
It's hard to say. We sold the last front engine Corvette at our Connecticut auction, and it brought $2.7 million. The end of an era. What does VIN 1, the next generation, bring? The first C8. That'll be interesting. Who lines up for it? Who wants it? It all goes to charity. So you get the tax write-off and you get a piece of history.
So you have how many cars this year?
1,950. It is a new record for Barrett-Jackson, the largest consignment, no reserve auction in history. 1,950 cars at no reserve.
How many square feet do you need for 1,950 cars?
Well, the entire auction area inside the fence is 74 acres. Under roof, we have over 1,100,000 square feet, 2 Guinness Book of World Records for the tents that we put up.
How does the auction compare now to those beginning stages of when Barrett-Jackson was just getting started?
Well, when it was first getting started, it started as a car show for charity. That's why charity has been such a part of Barrett-Jackson. It evolved into an auction when my dad and Tom Barrett was selling his collection. And it was about 80 cars between the two families, about 120 cars. And it was primarily pre-war classics. So how the auction has changed, one, in size. It is not just an auction, it's an automotive lifestyle event. You have all the major car manufacturers here doing displays, 4 manufacturers out on the ride and drives. It's a very interactive show. 300 different vendors selling everything automotive and lifestyle. It kicks off with a party that's about 7,000 people with live entertainment. And it is really a automotive festival. And one thing this year is we're going late into the evening. So it's really going to be an all-out party this year. And it really reminds me of what the tempo was like in about 07. You just feel that energy, the way the bidders are coming in, the cars are coming in, the economy's at an all-time high. But the mix of cars has changed. And now we're selling more resto mods. We're selling more 80s cars because now the X-Geners and the millennials are starting to buy. And the average age of our buyer over the past 5 years has dropped 10 years in age. So you got to change the mix of cars. And I think the Paul Walker collection is an excellent example of that.
Yeah, you know, what always strikes me when I'm walking around the Barrett-Jackson car auction is the number of people that I see with generations. Like you'll see a grandfather with a father, with a son or daughter. I mean, that really speaks to the longevity of the Barrett-Jackson car auction, and really it becomes a family event.
It absolutely does, and we make the tickets very affordable because we love having families come and share the passion of car collecting. And what you said is so true. I'll be walking around the site and I'll have a family, a grandfather, a father, and a son. And grandfather pull me aside and he goes, "It's the only thing I can talk to my grandson about is cars. I don't get his video games and all this stuff. But when we come here, we talk the same language."
Let's talk a little bit about online bidding, because for people who are watching, especially here on Bloomberg around the globe, they can now bid online on some of these cars, and that they see. What type of infrastructure did that take?
We launched our website 94. By 95, we had written a Java app to do online bidding. Now we use companies to help us with this because you need really the whole dark fiber, the back end, to make it lightning fast. We use a company that helps us do that, but you can go to our website and register and do everything at barrett-jackson.com. And the best thing to do is do it early in the day so that you can get into the lineup of cars. And if you want a phone bid, you can also do that with us. No matter where you are in the world, if you get a hold of us, we can make your dream come true.
You just threw out a term that I'd like you to define for our audience. And I know what it is, but I want you to explain it. Dark fiber. What is dark fiber?
So that's when a company has taken a chunk of fiber and tied it to the different nodes where the server farms are, so that the only thing that could really slow us down is that last mile. Now, we have worked with the city of Scottsdale to bring a lot of dedicated fiber into here. So typically, if there's a slow point, it's usually on the other end. rather than having to go through public ISPs jumping, which slows down. We want millisecond response. You know, I have some guys that'll be watching on TV, and I go, you can't watch on TV. It's got to go up to the satellite 22,000 miles, back down again, put the commercials in, back up again, and back down. And you could be talking about a 10 to 12 second delay. When you're bidding with us online, it is almost instantaneously, and that's because of the dark fiber.
What was the biggest challenge in making that happen?
Getting the last mile to here to Westworld. So when we first moved out here, it only had copper. So we were bonding copper together to get bandwidth and working with the city of Scottsdale. You know, at the same time, we're all fighting for the bandwidth. So television is here. We bring in portable cellular towers. Everybody wants to Facebook Live, share photos, use the app, download pictures. So every time you up it, you say, okay, we're bringing in this many gigs of bandwidth. We can never outgrow it. So we have to take, and when we set up our VPN, we set up certain dedicated tranches so that we do not slow down the bidding or the way that we all have to communicate.
What do you think is next for Barrett-Jackson?
I think you're going to see more and more globalization, especially with the internet. It is instantaneous. We have a lot of clients in the Middle East, some that come, some that have representatives, and they will actually be buying from there and keeping it so that they can communicate with us in real time is very important.
Just one final question. What do you think about all the self-driving cars?
I think, especially being a resident here of Arizona, it's still a ways off. I like some of the technology. The adaptive cruise control is great. I guess I'm still a little old-fashioned. I don't see myself reading the newspaper going down the freeway and relying 100% on technology yet. Now, I fly in airplanes that are on autopilot all the time, but we still land them manually.
Well, you know what? That says it right there, Craig. It certainly does. Hey, we appreciate you coming on the show and giving us a behind-the-scenes look into this landmark series of auctions. And if you've never been to a Barrett-Jackson car auction, you're totally missing out. They take place in Scottsdale, Arizona, Palm Beach, Florida, Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and Las Vegas, Nevada. And don't forget, you can view the cars, you can bid online from anywhere around the world. And now back to the trivia question I asked you earlier. Before deciding on the name Amazon, Jeff Bezos had a different idea about what to call his planned online bookstore in the mid-90s. So what was the original name? Was it A, Blue Origin, B, Cadabra, C, Redstone, D, Spartan? The answer is Cadabra. That's short for abracadabra, because Bezos wanted to express just how magical it was to buy from his online bookstore. Then his attorneys got involved, saying the reference was too obscure and that over the phone it actually sounded like the word cadaver. Yeah, Cadaver Prime doesn't have the same ring to it. All right, if you picked A, Blue Origin, that's actually the name of the aerospace company Bezos founded a few years later in 2000. Some people say he got divorced because his wife was past her prime. Ugh, that was bad. All right, it's time now for our digital life hack, and every week we put one of these together for you. And the whole streaming scene, let's just face it, it's pretty confusing. DirecTV has now changed its name to AT&T now, and they can't seem to settle on plans or pricing. Then there's Disney Plus and Apple TV. They join the party, and more new services like HBO Max are right around the corner. And each one wants your money. About 62% of all Americans subscribe to some sort of streaming service, and it's only going to get bigger. And the problem with streaming is that if you're not careful, you can spend $10 a month here, $5 a month there, $15 for this one. You get the idea. That's why you need to look at your bottom line. How much is all this streaming costing you, and how can you save some money? Because remember, every dollar not in their pocket is another dollar in yours. So let's get started with insider tricks to saving money that only the pros know, starting with then looking for and digging up those bundled deals. A bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN for $13 a month. That's a lot of content. If you just want to watch random live baseball during the season, ESPN Plus is just the place. Number 2 is that you can stream for free. A perfect example is T-Mobile Netflix on Us. It offers a free standard Netflix subscription to T-Mobile One unlimited data plan subscribers who have 2 or more lines. We've got more information about that. Number 3 is look at free trials. Netflix gives you 30 days, Disney Plus 7, Hulu first month free, Apple TV Plus. They give you a 7-day trial. And Amazon Prime Video requires you to have an Amazon Prime membership, but you can try that out for 30 days. And speaking of free trials, don't forget to cancel the ones you don't like. And then there are other tips, like, for example, make sure that you are looking at your data caps and you want to pick and choose your services wisely. And then you really need to consider whether or not you truly need all the bells and whistles. All right, it's time now for our DIY security tip of the week. And you know that your phone knows where in the world that you're actually located. This is how your GPS works. It Find My Friend sees your location and why you get local ads on Facebook and Google. That location data, just like other data on your phone, is a hot commodity for internet marketeers in today's economy. In fact, targeted advertising is one of the biggest enterprises on the web. Companies are so eager to serve you ads for products that you're more likely to buy, and that data helps them hit their mark. Now, some companies have even made this their primary business, but thankfully, you don't have to stand for this kind of data collection if you're not comfortable with it. These tactics are legal because the companies behind them give us the choice to opt in or to opt out, but not everyone knows how to change their settings. So we're going to show you how to do this to stop your phone from tracking you and get ready to go dark. Are you ready? Let's get started. So first, you want to tweak your phone's location settings, and you can prevent your iOS and Android from tracking you, known as frequent locations. And to do this on your Apple devices, you start in the settings, and the same thing on your Android. It's just a little bit different when you get into privacy and location services. We have the exact steps on the website. You can also limit ad tracking. And there are different settings for you to do this. And these are these things that you don't know unless you actually get into it. You're going to go into privacy settings and advertising on your iPhone, or settings, Google's, and ads on your Android. You can also stop Google from tracking your every single move. You can turn off web activity. You can turn off app activity. You can turn off the different types of data that is saved to your Google account. You can pausing location history. It doesn't actually turn off the location markers, but it does stop from adding movements to a timeline. Then you want to take a look at using a private browser on your phone. You probably haven't thought about that, but Mozilla's free Firefox Focus app or Google Chrome, they have some features that the others don't. And you also want to check all of your online accounts for exactly what they know about you. You can opt out of ads. And also you want to check your virtual assistants. For links to all of these, look no further than the official homepage of The Kim Komando Show. Super easy to go to, KOMANDO.com. Once you're there, hit Kim Show, and under that, Show Pics, and then you got the link.
Standby control. Cue Kim.
Airbnb is cracking down on people renting party houses, and they're using artificial intelligence. And I'm going to give you all the details on how it works here on Komando. Airbnb is trying to fix their image problems. I mean, it's all fun and games until someone else reports another hidden camera. Now, to be fair, it's not just the hosts. Airbnb has also been cracking down on people who just want to rent a party house that they can destroy. So they've been working to improve their screening process. Apparently, Airbnb has software designed to scan your online presence to figure out if you're trustworthy. Its AI will scour the internet looking for things like illegal activity and traits that could paint you as a narcissist or maybe a psychopath. Airbnb owns the rights to the software according to the patent that they filed last year. Now, a lot of patents that get filed never come to pass. I mean, look at all the cool tech that Apple files patents for, but we get the same old iPhone every single year. Either way, better be on your best behavior online if you want to make sure that you get that Airbnb rental. Otherwise, it's goodbye 5-bedroom vacation home and hello to Motel 6. You can find your local radio station that broadcasts my show, along with more DIY how-tos and tips, videos, free news alerts delivered from me to your email address, along with the Komando community, where you can blog and ask your tech questions on our website. That's komando.com. And thanks so much for watching.